Hello students, I am Dr. Praveen Tripathi. I am a faculty of Psychiatry, and I would be discussing this very important question in this video, whether you should drop another year with the hope of getting a better rank next year, or whether you should take whatever you are getting this year only. So this drop or not question is very important. It crops up every single year, and I think that the answer to this question is very personalized, in the sense that it may make sense for a person, but it may not make sense for another person. So it's a very personalized answer. Still, there are certain parameters which should be considered before deciding in favor or against dropping a year. So what are these parameters? I think the first parameter is the number of attempts that you have already made. If you are somebody who has taken the examination for the first time, it was your first attempt, then the answer may be different. And if you are somebody who has taken the paper twice or more than 2 times, the answer may differ. Efforts put. What do I mean by efforts put? Was this your best attempt? Were you able to study to the best of your capabilities this year? Were you able to give enough time to your preparation this year? If you were an intern, the possibility is that you had to give some time to the duties, and in the remaining time you were able to prepare. Even if you are not an intern, even if you have completed your MBBS, you are a post MBBS student, but because of any XYZ reason, because of any maybe personal reason or any other reason, you were not able to give enough time to the preparation, then the answer becomes different. And if you have given your best attempt and still you did not get as good a rank, then the answer becomes different. Energy left, I'll be summarizing everything later on, but I'm just enumerating the points here. What do I mean by energy left? As of today, how much energy is left in you for another year? Let's be realistic. The preparation of any entrance examination, for that matter, is difficult. Sitting for the entire year at home or in the library or in the hostels, not doing anything, just studying, getting up in the morning every day, studying till late night. It's not something that comes very naturally to any of us. It's a difficult condition to be in. It is difficult. There is no harm in accepting what the truth is. So keeping in mind that there would be lots of hardships involved if you decide to again drop an year, and there would be a lot of sacrifices involved. Do you still have the energy left for another year or not? That's another important question. And lastly, how much are you willing to sacrifice for a particular branch? Or in other words, do you even know what branch do you want to take? Do you even know in which branch do you want to specialize? Say if a person is very clear that he wants to become an orthopedician, or if a person is very clear that he wants to become a gynecologist, they have thought of nothing else but gynecology or orthopedics, then the answer becomes different. And if you're a person who is like, okay, whatever I get is okay. There are people who are like, I need to get a clinical branch. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. There are people who say that I need to get a surgical branch. There are people who tend to say that I need a medical branch. There are people who tend to say that I want an easier life. Any paraclinical branch would be okay. So depending upon what kind of a person you are, again, the answer changes. Now let me present certain scenarios in front of you and walk you through what would be the better decision. But before I start talking about those scenarios, I would suggest you that you can listen to all of us. All of us faculties will share our experience with you and what we think about this thing. But at the end of the day, it should be your decision, and you have to trust in yourself. You have to stand by yourself. Whatever you decide is okay. Now say you are a guy who was doing internship and who appeared for the NEET examination this year. It was your first attempt, and obviously because of the internship you were not able to give enough time, and still you managed to get a decent rank. Probably not so good to get a good branch, but still good enough that you might get something. And you had put some efforts. Because of your internship, you were not able to give your best efforts, but you were able to put some efforts, and also you have a lot of energy left. You are in fact happy that even with internship, if I could get till here, probably without internship, maybe the INISAT or maybe the next examination, NEET examination, I would do really good. And probably you want a good branch. Maybe you want to become a radiologist, maybe you want to become an orthopedician, whatever your dream branch is. If that is the case, first attempt not complete effort given, still energy left, wants to get a good branch, I would strongly advise you that drop an year. Go back to the hostel, go back to the home, study hard. In all likelihood, you would get a much better rank next year. There is no surety about it, but the odds of you doing better is much higher than the odds of your rank getting worsened. So if this is the scenario, my advice, go for it. Scenario number 2. Say you're a person who has already dropped an year. This was your second attempt. In the first attempt, you were not able to give enough time, but this year, this time was your second attempt. You studied properly for the entire year. You gave your best shot, whatever is your best, you did that, and now you kind of feel drained out. So second attempt, good effort given, not so much energy left, and branch clarity is there to a certain extent. Say you always wanted to do medicine, but you're not getting medicine. Maybe you're getting anesthesia. What should you do? You can definitely go for another attempt. There is nothing stopping that. But here this third point becomes very important. Ask yourself genuinely and ask yourself honestly, would you be able to tolerate the hardships of another year? And if the answer comes yes, I can study for another year, I really want to get into medicine, I don't want to compromise on the branch, please drop another year. There is no harm in sitting at home for another year because you're so sure about the branch. The life of medico or the professional careers are so long that 1 year or 2 year here and there does not really make any difference. So that thought of wasting 1 year does not count at all. Even in the parameters that I have mentioned here, I have not talked about that 1 year. I mean, if life is of 70-75 years, 1 year does not matter at all. So if this is a scenario, despite everything, you feel that you can bring yourself back to the study table, study hard, please drop another year by all means. But second attempt, did put the efforts, not so much energy left. And about branch also, you're okay ki if I could get medicine, it's good, even anesthesia is good, even pathology is good, don't really mind it, or mind it to a little extent, then I would say that let's not take another chance, let's not risk too much and take whatever we want to or whatever we are getting. So this is the second scenario. Third scenario, say you are a student who has already dropped for more than 1 year. Say this was your third attempt. If it was your third attempt, in all likelihood, you would have put whatever effort you can put, and you might not be left with that much of energy. And say you wanted a clinical branch, but you are not getting it. What do? You are not so happy about a non-clinical branch, but you are not getting a clinical branch. Now, these are the scenarios where taking decision is most difficult. On one hand, there is this thought that don't give up, don't quit, keep on working hard, sooner or later you would get the success. On the other hand, more realistic approach that, see, it's been 2 years already after your internship, it's been 3 attempts already. Let us not get stuck in life. Let us not, stay in the same place while everybody is moving ahead, because it at times keep on getting more and more difficult. And we might think at this age of yours or at this level of yours that PG entrance examination is the thing that determines success or failure in the life, but in reality it is not the case. When you move ahead, when you are done with MD or MS in any field, non-clinical, paraclinical, clinical, you realize that there are many more options that open up. So if you're a person who has already studied for 2 years, have put much efforts, not left with much energy, and still not sure what to do, probably not dropping another year would be a better thing than going for another drop year. I have made my reasons clear. I don't want you to get stuck at a place because if you're doing the same thing over and over again and everybody is going on moving ahead with their lives and you are left, then you start developing depressive symptoms, you start getting frustrated, it becomes even more difficult to study, you run out of the study partners, and all the pressure keeps on piling. So at times it becomes even worse. And more importantly, you may think that at this stage of your life, this examination is the most important thing. But when you do MD in any field, other things open up, and you might later on realize that, okay, this is what I wanted to do, and I was unnecessarily obsessing about the branch after my MBBS. That said, if you're a person who still feels that they could have another go, and if you're really crazy about a branch, if you're really particular about a branch, number of attempts should not matter. So as you can see, I'm not saying anything in black and white. Why? Because there is no such thing as black and white when it comes to these difficult decisions. But keeping these parameters in mind, not getting too emotional about it, keeping a realistic overview of things, and asking yourself certain honest questions. Probably one of the most important question is, can I sit back at home for one more year? Do I have that much energy in me? Whatever the answer comes, please accept that. Listen to yourself. Don't push yourself unnecessarily. So I think these are some of the important parameters. Another thing I want to discuss, guys and girls, is please don't think that for a doctor the only way to live a respectable life is to get an MD or MS. That is not true at all. As I grow in my life, as I gain more experience, my perspective on this thing keeps on changing. If you would have asked me this question 8-9 years back, probably I would have said that please get into MD, MS no matter what. It's so important. But in the last 8-9 years, when we work as doctors, when we look at people, when we see what others are doing, we find so many people who are not from medical backgrounds, or who did only MBBS and then got into MBA or business, or so many things that can be done. And then when we work with those people, sometimes we feel that these guys are at times doing so much better than us. Just having an MD degree or MS degree does not mean that you will become successful. MBBS in itself is a big achievement. So lakhs of people try for it and few thousand get into it. That in itself is a very big achievement. And there are so many paths, even in the medical field. Nowadays, so many medical startups are coming. Not all of them are MDs. They hire MDs, they hire people like us, and they run the show. So we should never think that not being able to clear an entrance examination is the end of the world, and it in no way it means that you are a failure or you could not do anything in the life. We have to get out of that tunnel vision. This is the problem with medical colleges. All of us who have spent 5.5 years in the medical colleges, all of us know what the atmosphere is in those colleges. From the very first year, we are told that you have to get into PG, you have to get into the PG. If you don't become a PG, you are nothing. That is not true at all. The real world starts outside the four walls of medical colleges. I keep on saying this thing because I've seen it myself. The real world where doctors practice, 80% of the doctors practice in the private, they are private practitioners. The real world is so much more different than what we think inside the four walls of medical colleges. So even if you are not able to clear an entrance examination, even if you were not able to get a good rank, that is not the end of the life. That does not mean that your career would get halted now. That does not mean that you should stop dreaming now. You can always do something different. You can always take whatever bench that you are getting and then think of something different, something novel. There are so many other options. You can explore those. In the nutshell, if you could scrape through this tough entrance examination, well and good. You can always try next year, but in rare cases when it does not happen, it is not the end of the life at all. So all the best, guys and girls. I hope you keep on studying hard, you keep on moving towards your goals, and you keep on remembering that we all became doctors because we wanted to live a good life. But our life does not end with those degrees. There is so much more to life than the degrees of MBBS or MD. Let's not equate the degrees with our life. So this is what I wanted to share. All the best. God bless you. Good night.